Hello there. Welcome back to Let's Make an NFT. I'm Cheryl B. Englehart. I'm a composer and singer-songwriter and new age artist, and I'm here with the CEO of Discmakers, Tony Van Veen. Also, a huge stand for independent artists and knowing all the cool things that are going on in the world of making and selling music.
Thank you,
That's your new
Cheryl.
tagline.
Yes, the stand for the independent artist. All right. So we've been talking a lot about the things that you've been looking at and looking into, and I thought it might be a good idea to talk a little bit about some of the basic terminology that we've already been thrown around, blockchain and token and minting and gas fees, and just explain it a little bit to folks who are new to this. Like we're less new now than many others because
Yeah.
of the last week or 10 days that we've been doing some work.
Totally. And the reason we're doing that, like, why didn't we do all these terms in video one? We didn't know which one. There's so many, and it was hard to tell which ones are important. What do we need to actually know, and which can we get by without knowing? So now that we've dug in a little bit over the past week plus, some of the words are coming up that are like, okay, I really actually need to know what this word is. So that's
Right.
why we're doing that today.
Right. So what we know is an NFT is a digital asset that uses a token on the blockchain to become unique, right? And it needs to be minted in order to be sold on a marketplace. And you've been looking into marketplaces. And as part of that transaction, a user may or may not need to pay gas fees in addition to the transaction value for the NFT. So that's kind of the big picture context. So what is a blockchain? I mean, a blockchain, if you break it down, it's multiple blocks. And a block is basically a digital ledger, right? It's where usually transactions are logged and registered, who bought what from whom, usually when and for how much. And this ledger is updated and maintained on an open source global network of computers. And since there's a finite amount of records that could be on a ledger, when a ledger, i.e. a block is full, a new block is created. And you create enough new blocks and they're all chained together, that's the blockchain. It's basically a huge open source record of all these digital transactions in cryptocurrencies, NFCs, NFTs, et cetera. So that's the blockchain. And that underlies basically everything that is being done in the quote unquote Web3 space, which
Yes.
we're not, which, that's the next web thing. Again, it's whatever they call it nowadays. If it has to do with blockchain, they call it Web3.
Web
So
three. That's the best explanation of blockchain I've heard. I'm wondering and I know you're going to get to all these words, but my very next word that I would love to really wrap my head around is what is cryptocurrency, especially in relationship to the blockchain.
yeah, and that's a good question, and I'll try to explain it a little bit by explaining token because um, the token thing to me is, to be honest, still rather abstract. As we know, a token broadly in the English language represents something else. If I give you a rose as a token of my affection, that rose is not my affection. My affection is much greater, and the value of my affection is much greater than the rose. The rose just symbolizes my affection.
As a token.
So, and just like in the old physical world, a coin was a token that was backed by something else of greater value. In the olden days, that was gold, right? And so a digital token that we are talking about here also represents value. And that value as a cryptocurrency could be financial value, or with an NFT, there's other assets that have a value as well. And so there are two kinds of tokens. There are fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. And a fungible token, basically, like physical money, a cryptocurrency is a fungible token because one Bitcoin is an equal value and can be exchanged for any other Bitcoin. So it doesn't care, which Bitcoin you own, or which Ether or which Solana or whatever digital currency, cryptocurrency you own, one is equal to the other. And
And
they
that's
are,
essentially the definition of fungible. If you were to swipe out another word, it's exchangeable, right? So, a fungible something, you can exchange this thing for something else, whether it's a coin of the same value or an
yeah,
actual product, right?
one barrel of oil is fungible with another barrel of oil.
Got it.
Right? They're all freely substitutable for something of equal value. And then you have non-fungible tokens. And with NFTs, the crypto paradigm is kind of shifted by making each token unique. So instead of it being fungible, there's only one of that particular token. And that makes it unique and irreplaceable and impossible for one token to be identical, non-fungible token to be identical to another. So it's basically a digital representation of a unique asset. It's the equivalent of owning kind of an original Van Gogh, right? There is only one of that particular thing, except it's digital.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's the
There you go.
non-fungible token.
That's the non-fungible token. And so the way crypto comes into it is you can use cryptocurrency, which was the currency created to purchase these digital assets, and it just happens to be that that's the system that is in place right now on the blockchain, is creating these NFTs, these non-fungible unique tokens that you can purchase with cryptocurrency, although there are, we were discussing the possibility of places where you can actually buy it with money, but we're not really getting into that at the moment.
Yeah, and I believe though that cash, if you pay with dollars, that still gets converted first into
Ah, okay.
cryptocurrency to buy a non-fungible token with a fungible token.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if the next word that we dig into a little bit, maybe out of order, is wallet.
Ah, so let me go in order because or in order of kind of what I mentioned earlier. Let's talk about minting for a little bit because the process of minting is basically the process of turning a digital file, like you're going to have your digital assets, right, your song, etc., into an NFT. So you're turning that into an NFT. So taking your digital file and turning it into an NFT is the process that is called minting. So that's when you store the NFT on this blockchain, and that makes it impossible to edit or modify or delete. So that's basically where it gets created. And then there's software in the blockchain that's called smart contracts, which basically allow a buyer and a seller to simultaneously exchange securely currency, i.e. crypto, for the NFT you want to buy. So I pay you in Bitcoin or in Ether or in another currency, and then you exchange that for your NFT. And in order to do this minting and this purchasing or selling, you need a wallet.
Gotcha.
Just like if you were to go to the supermarket and buy a dozen eggs, you need a physical
Right.
wallet. This is a digital wallet. And there are a number of them. MetaMask, we were chatting before the video, is one
Yep.
of the bigger ones and more popular ones. But Coinbase has one, and there's many other wallets. It's basically digital storage place for cryptocurrency, and then some wallets like MetaMask also allow you to store your NFTs.
Yeah. That is the rabbit hole that I went down between the last video and this one. As I was about to start the process of creating my NFT so I could come back and document that, I realized that I need a wallet, not because I'm necessarily going to spend the money, but then, of course, it makes sense if someone's going to purchase with cryptocurrency, where does that go? Where does it's not like I get a check in the mail of cryptocurrency. So, of course, I need to have a wallet so that I can receive that cryptocurrency, as well as if I am going to be paying any gas fees, and depending on what marketplace I upload my NFT to, I need to have obviously some currency available in the wallet in order to do that. So yes, the ones that you mentioned, Wallet Connect, MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, Formatic are the ones that OpenSea recommends. You need to have a wallet in order to even get going on
Right.
bigger marketplaces, including OpenSea. In the research I did, it seems that MetaMask, it's a little fox icon, seems to be the most popular and sort of most known, which makes me feel good about just going in and trying to get my way through that setup process. Yeah.
Right. So the question that I've heard had asked of me was, well, is minting then an NFT? Is that the same as buying one? Because they can happen at the same time. And the answer is no.
Right.
Right. The minting is the first time that the NFT is created in order for it to usually be bought the first time. But then once an NFT is created, it can be bought and resold multiple times again, but it doesn't get reminted every time. The minting only happens once.
Yeah, I feel like minting, if you were to make an analogy of like something in the physical world, it's kind of what the disc maker's factory is, right? It's like this is where this gets pressed, and then once it's out, it doesn't need to get pressed again. It's 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 that process of turning the actual your files and attaching it to that special, unique, non-fungible token
Yes,
that you were talking about.
it creates a digital certificate that basically shows your ownership of the work.
Right. And just I've gotten this question. You just said ownership of the work. It's not ownership of your track, of your music, unless that's part of the NFT that you're offering actual income from your music, which some people have done. We're not going to be doing that here. But just to reiterate, it's ownership of that token. So it's like you went and bought that signed Van Gogh. There was only one, or the record that was printed just once. They're getting that, but it doesn't mean that they own the music on that record,
We could
right? They
probably
own the thing.
we could probably do a whole separate video about talking about the different iterations of and possibilities of rights ownership. But yes, generally, if you buy an NFT, you own that NFT the way, per your earlier analogy, you buy and you own a CD,
Yep.
right? But you don't buy typically the rights, the intellectual property rights, the copyrights to the recording. So buying an NFT does not give you the right to now take that song and put it up on Spotify
Right.
and start collecting royalties. Because then
Perfect.
Cheryl's going to come after you and sue
With
your
my
ass.
spear. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Spear is even worse. Lawyer Spears, I don't know. All right.
Amazing. All right. So we've got all the language now. And now I think we're at the place where it's like, all right, let's pick a couple of these marketplaces and experiment a little bit so we can come back and say, okay, here's what's working.
Right. So is that what's going to happen next? You have your song. Do you have your digital album
Yep.
cover thingy?
Yep. We've
Technical
got
term.
some the graphic. You can upload either just the album cover, or you can create a little GIF or a looping video. Most of these platforms will loop it for
By
you.
the way,
So
I've heard it's a GIF.
GIF
GIF.
or GIF. Oh, that can be another video. We discuss that niche or niche. We'll do all of them. Let's do it.
Yes.
Um, and so yeah, so I have those assets like on my computer. So now it's a matter of picking a couple of platforms so that we can come back and say these are the ones that worked. So I think I'll do it on my own and then see the process and take a separate single, and then we'll come back and maybe share my screen and actually walk through the process.
So you're going to
Um,
create a wallet,
Yep, gotta create a wallet.
right? And then
MetaMask. I created my wallet there. You get a wallet phrase, which is a 12-word phrase, so no one can sign in. That's why I can't share my screen with you because it shows your phrase. So I created that, and then now that I have to connect my wallet to all of the different marketplaces that I think I want to try out to upload these different NFTs, these different singles to. So that connection process, there's wait lists for some. So I don't want to make you wait. So I'm going to get all that in order and then actually create the NFT.
wow, so our next one is going to be really exciting.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned.
See ya. Bye.